So now I've completed installing packages. So now in this video, I'm going to show setting up the RStudio file so that we can actually start to read in the data and run the analyses. So I'm just going to follow step by step exactly what's in the instructions file. So I'm going to create a new R notebook file. So new file, R notebook. And this has a bunch of stuff in there already. We're going to also open up the code chunk templates, our Markdown file, which you notice I put here in my same EPSY 5261 folder in my documents. And I'm going to copy the beginning of the file. This sort of creates some setup factors that R considers when it's sort of creating and thinking about what's in one of these R Markdown files. So I'm going to copy the first 5 lines. So you can use your keyboard shortcuts or the menus to copy. And I'm going to select everything in this file and delete it in this new R Markdown file. And now I'm going to paste those first 5 lines. And the next thing I want to do is I can change the title to something more informative. So I'm going to change it to Activity 1, Introduction to RStudio. And so I also want to save this file because right now it's unsaved. We can tell it's unsaved both because it's called untitled and because it has this little asterisk. That's a key that we have unsaved changes that are in the file. So I want to save it. So I'll go to File, Save. And then in the same folder, I'll save it again as Activity 1. Intro to RStudio. So after this, I'm going to be building up the file. So I'm going to be going back and forth between the code chunk templates file and this file and copying and pasting some different code to get the code I need to do the analysis. And then I need to modify the code to make sure it fits my particular situation. So the first step is that I need to load the packages. So these are those things that we installed in the previous video. These provide the functions that are really useful for doing our analysis. So, there's a bunch of different headings in this file, and there's a few different ways of finding the code chunk you need. You can search for it, which is what's recommended in the instructions. So I can search for the library code chunk by going to Edit and then Find. And so I could search for library code chunk, and I found it. Another tip is that in the way that this file is set up, there's this little, somewhat unintuitive icon with the lines going scattered, and this actually shows an outline of the document. So I can also open up this little outline and quickly see the different titles for different things that are in the document. And everything that we're talking about today is near the beginning of the document. So I could also scroll down this outline, find it, and then I can just close the outline again just so that I have a little bit more space. So we're going to be using these 2 packages that make it a little bit easier to use R. I know it wasn't 100% easy the way things were set up. Again, apologies for that. But I can then copy that code, which is technically I'm copying an extra, but lines 38 to 41 here, and copy that code chunk And now I can run it. And this will load the packages. What I called in the announcements is a little bit like loading the apps that you need to use on your phone. And it'll take a moment, and it'll have a bunch of kind of technical output, but you didn't get any errors or warnings or anything. This is showing you that you are good to go. These packages successfully installed. So you completed the last step successfully if you're seeing this kind of output. So on to the next video where we'll talk more about actually reading in the data and getting some output.